Hello and welcome. This video will serve as your introduction to honors chemistry at Apple Valley High School. It'll run through a lot of how the class is structured and a lot of the stuff that is actually on the syllabus. We won't be covering this information in class. Instead, this video is your reference to any questions of how the class is structured. First, I want you to understand kind of what my goal is in honors chemistry for you. Okay? My goal is to have you start questioning your surroundings in a different way than you have before. Chemistry is a study of how things are made, like what matter they're made out of and how they interact, and that's not necessarily something you've thought about before, so that's really what we'll focus on for most of the year. My other goal, as this being an honors class, is really to prepare you for college. Chemistry is one of the hardest science classes that you can take in college, and for many of you, if you're going to go into science or engineering, it will be a class that you must take. So my goal is to introduce you to most concepts so that things aren't brand new and scary once you're in college. So first off, a little bit about class structure. One thing you'll notice is, and I'm sure you've had other teachers that do this, I do a starter every day. So that means my expectation is that when the final bell rings, that you're seated in your seat, that you are silent, and you're completing whatever questions are asked on the board in your notebook. Okay, lots of brain research shows that you learn by doing. So it's not an optional activity. It's not something you can sit there and just think about. You will be physically writing down your answers. Sometimes I'll give you the option just to talk, but that's my expectation. And I consider it a tardy if you are not in your seat and silent and beginning once the bell has rung. In each unit we cover, the homework consists mostly of videos, and each video will have a Google form for you to fill out in conjunction with it. So essentially you watch the video, you take notes, then you go to the form and you fill it out. Those forms are due at 6:30 a.m. on the day that they're said to be due. So on the board in the room, and when I send you a text message out, if it says like video 1 is due September 8th, that means it's due September 8th at 6:30 a.m. It must be completed essentially before you're in class. I use these forms to influence my instruction for the day, which is why I require they're done before school starts, so I have about an hour to digest some of the data and make sure that I'm appropriately prepared for you. Number one thing that other people who've taken this class before will tell you is they would recommend you do everything. Okay? In terms of homework, I really just assign the forms. We also have a quiz for every unit, sometimes 2 quizzes for every unit that are on a software called Kia. It's free. You have to sign up for it. And essentially, I give you 3 practice tries for Kia, so you should get full points if you want full points. But other than that, I just give you a lot of practice that I don't necessarily collect or check, but it's with the practice that people do the best on their tests, which is something that I would hope at this point in your careers as students you would understand. In honors chemistry, I have a no cell phone policy. That means that your cell phone should be away at all times, never on your desk, never visible. They are distractions, simple as that. They are mechanisms by which you distract yourself. And I know how hard it is when my phone vibrates not to answer it. So we will take away that distraction as best as possible. Your cell phones must be away at all times. If I see them, I will ask you to put them away. If it becomes a habit for you, your grading scale is set up so that 5% is participation points. I personally believe that if you have a cell phone present, you're not participating in class because it's too much of a distraction mentally. So you will start to lose participation points for cell phone use. In terms of attitude, just be ready to learn and be ready to fail. Okay? Not everything is simple straight off the bat. Your brain doesn't learn anything the first time. You've got to do it multiple times to really learn it. And that's something to understand. If you fail, it doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means you need more tries. So each unit, as I've already said, we will have videos to cover most of the content. That means in class, I don't give a lot of formal notes. In class, we have time to do other things, activities, questions, demos, labs, things like that. So it's your responsibility to take notes on the content. Essentially, chemistry is like a foreign language. I'm going to be introducing lots of words you've never heard before. And if you haven't heard those words by the time you get to class and I'm trying to use them to understand a concept, you're going to fall really far behind really fast. So the videos are usually less than 15 minutes, mostly more like 10. The forms are really not for your educational purpose. They're for mine to see what you know, what you don't know, but they are my expectation of what I think you should know after the video. So if you do the form and you don't know anything after the video, understand that when you come to class, it's going to be tough. Okay, you might want to spend some time to try to rewatch the video and understand it. For every unit, again, you'll have 1 to 2 also KIA quizzes. Those quizzes are basically review quizzes for the test. You get 3 tries for them though, so you should get full points if you would like to. They're questions that are like the test. You get a kind of practice trial on test questions before the test. I also use a software called Socrative that you may have used in other classes. It's usually not assigned. Sometimes I'll use it for like an in-class quiz, but I usually put up more multiple-choice practice questions just for a test so you get more practice. Because all of our homework is electronic, there's really no excuse for it to be late. I have a lot of students who are sick or who are out of town and they're all like, oh, can I make up the forms later? There's really no reason for you to fall behind in this class ever. Okay, if there's a special exception where you're like, I'm gonna be gone for 3 or 4 days and I'd like to watch it closer to when I'm back so I don't forget it, I totally get that. Just talk to me about it, but electronic homework should be completed on the due date since it is electronic. It's not dependent on you being in class for completion. In this class, a certain percent of you will need to get help. Okay, it's just the name of the game. It's not the easiest class you've ever taken, and with a little bit of help from me, a little bit of one-on-one time, we can usually knock out whatever your problems are. In terms of getting help, I am always here after school until 3:15. Okay, after school is totally open. You can come in at any time and I will help you. Before school, I'm always here very early. I'm usually here by 6. But in terms of before school time, that's my time that I'm usually setting up labs or I might be busy running around. So I'm more than happy to meet with people before school, but you just got to give me a heads up. Otherwise, you might get here early, have gotten up, and I just won't be available. I won't even be in my room. I'll be somewhere else. Okay, so mornings, just let me know, but after school, you can stay anytime. Many students end up emailing me too at night with questions, which is totally fine. Email me at any time. Because I have young children, I won't be answering emails until 7:30 every night, but I'll be answering emails between 7:30 and 9:30. One thing I do say, because a lot of our stuff is electronic, is don't be at home and be like, oh, that didn't work. I'll tell Mrs. Lee tomorrow, and just leave it. Okay, that's never an appropriate response to an electronic issue. Send me an email. Okay, in this day and age, I expect for you to be able to complete everything. So I want to be able to help you. So send me an email. I will fix it that night and you'll be able to complete it. Okay? Don't expect that it's an okay excuse that it didn't work for me and think that I'll be understanding. Okay? I'd rather you be proactive than reactive to these situations. In terms of grading scale, that's on the syllabus. You can see here, formative evaluations are 10% of your grade. Those are all of your homework forms, any in-class quizzes we do, any worksheets I would choose to check off. That will be 10% of your grade. 20% is lab evaluations or any other kind of activity type things we would do that I would have you actually finish. Daily participation is 5%. That's what I was discussing in relation to cell phone use. I also take off points for that starter. If you're not seated and silent and started, you'll lose points. Anytime I tell you to do something like do this problem, if you don't, that could be potentially loss of points. So daily participation is simply being engaged in the course. 65% is summative assessments. Those will be the end of unit tests that we do, or potentially a project depending on the unit. All of your classroom resources can be found on Moodle. Okay, if you look at it, this video is at the top of the Moodle, so you should have accessed it there. Your homework for after the video is over will be right here. Your get to know you form, right? The syllabus, things you need to get done. Sign up for Remind. Remind is a texting service teachers use to get a hold of you and to give you homework reminders. I use Remind religiously. People who are not on Remind feel like they've missed out on part of the conversation for this class. Okay, I don't feel like Remind's an option. I feel like it's a requirement for the class. This is how you sign up for KIA. If you click there, you'll find codes and things. You'll want to do that before the end of the first unit so that you can get those points. We'll also be using Google Classroom. You should have signed up this first day in order to post your first assignment. But if not, it's right here for you to sign up. And then this is how you access your unit materials. So Unit 1 materials are all listed here. You can go look at them, the learning targets, the videos, the notes, then the homework, which are the forms you fill out. Any labs we have will be here, and then other assignments I post. So sometimes I have a worksheet folder and things like that for you. So Moodle is where you can get all your resources. KIA is a one-time quiz you take per unit, 1 or 2 times sometimes. Remind is a way for me to get a hold of you, so sign up for that. And then Google Classroom will be a place where we turn in random in-class things sometimes. So that's where you'd want to sign up for that one. And then Socrative is not something you have to sign up for. Socrative is just something that I will open for you periodically that has a lot of good questions to help you prepare for tests and quizzes and things of that nature. I think that's everything in terms of structure. I hope that this video helps you better understand how the flow of the class works and what my expectations for you are. Number one expectation I have for you is simply to be present. Okay, too often in our lives we are distracted or we are here but not here. If you're physically present and mentally aware, chemistry is not as hard as most people think it is. You are your own worst enemy in terms of distraction. So if you do your best to, I always say, fake it till you make it, pretend like you're interested, your brain will think you're interested and you'll actually retain more information. So that's it for the intro. Go ahead and do the form and have a nice night.